Hiya, so results are going to be announced in about sort of 2 hours-ish, and I'm just doing this as a final video. So thank you to everyone, because if I win, I'll only get about a minute to thank anyone, and if I lose, I won't get a platform at all. So I just thought this would be a good way of doing it, making sure everyone gets mentioned. So I've been thinking about doing this for a while now, and I sort of want to start from the beginning, which is when I first got into the sort of whole housing community scene anyway. And I first off want to thank Jessica Bushell, who was the original manager of Shack, what's now Good Lettings. Basically, because otherwise I wouldn't have the amount of knowledge I need to be here, and I wouldn't have even started this process. And I'm really glad that you took a chance on the quirky guy with the hat. So thanks very much there, and by extension, thanks to every other manager of Guild Lettings we've had that has taught me so much. That's Jenna, Catherine Tully, and Catherine Waterworth. I also want to thank my family, who have been supportive from the very first step of this and were very influential in the sort of embryonic stages of this campaign. So that's my mum, my dad, and my sister, who've just been really helpful and had really good input. And I want to thank the sabbatical team, the current sabbatical team, just because when we started the year, there was a big fiasco with the halls, and not enough students were allocated halls, and there was a massive team of people trying to deal with this. And afterwards, a whole bunch of people from the guild met in the pub, and I got to see them as normal people, and that's really how I came to decide to do this. And it was really nice to see that, and it was nice to have their support throughout that. So thanks very much, and a particular thanks to Jack Mabley, who has been supportive throughout, and really just been very keen for me to pursue this. And I probably might not have done it without your insistence. So yes, thank you there, one and all. I next want to thank the people who helped me during my campaign. This mostly boils down to my campaign team, so I'll list them off now. So firstly, thank you to Georgia. Georgia, I know you probably weren't as active as you wanted to be in this, but to be honest, without your input on certain stages, nothing would have appeared the way it did anyway. And at the very beginning, when I was doing the sort of shall I not on this, your influence in saying yes you should and it's a really good idea to do this and you'd be a really good housing community officer was amazing. It's difficult when you've got this much of a respect for someone to explain it, but you saying that really confirmed what I was feeling, and so thank you very much. Thank you. I also want to thank Jacob Stanbridge, who just gave everything so much energy when we were doing it, even when I was feeling low. Sam Arrowsmith, Sam, who I've painted endless cardboard with already. He was the director of Peter Pan the 48 Hour and my co-writer, and has come with me through this as well. So it's been wonderful to work with you again, and I'm looking forward to living with you next year. Alice Wasowski-Morris, again, someone who just came in with such an energy and a passion and a drive to help, and who kind of gave up her own time to do it as well, which I'm really appreciative of. I also want to thank Eleanor Koval, again, someone who's got just that right sort of level of sense of humour that just connects with me and is able to look at things in a slightly different way to me, enough to complement what I do very well and to help me finish off all the signs that we did all the way 2 weeks ago on Friday. I also want to thank Olivia Beasley, who wasn't particularly active during this, mainly just because of commitments she had, but was a massive influence in sharing things via Facebook, and that was massively helpful because online campaigns are difficult to do, and without that sort of support, it wouldn't have worked the way it did. And similarly, I want to thank anyone else who did share things. I know we had a sort of outer circle of the campaign team whose job it was to share media, and it's a small thing, but it did really help. Another thanks I want to give out to Karen Kang. Karen works with me at Guild Lettings / Shack. Probably the longest serving member after me and Jenna. Karen's input has just been fantastic, and I always knew it would be. When I started this, I had a list of people who I wanted to be involved with this, and Karen was pretty much at the top of that list, because there were points in when we were doing the sign making and you were able to look at things in a different way to me, and it meant that our signs were better than everyone else's. And, you know, I might sound like I'm biased there, but they were. Our signs stayed up longer than any other cardboard sign on campus. And that is because Karen was very good at working out what should be done with them, making sure that I didn't go for the quantity route, I went for the quality route. And yeah, so thank you so much there for being involved in this. And a big thank you possibly the biggest of all, goes to Sarah Dovey, my campaign manager, who was on a lot of the organisational side while I was on the campaign trail. And although it was sort of the less fun, tedious bit of it, I needed it, because without that level of organisation and working out where I was for lecture shout-outs each time and what I needed to be doing, I probably wouldn't have been able to do anything. And it just meant a lot that I had that support there in the background. And you've been such a good campaign manager. I honestly can't express this in words enough. So thank you very much. I also, on a similar note, want to thank some of the other candidates who are going with me. In particular, you'll know that I teamed up for a lot of this with Ian Super Fabio Kafka, who was just brilliant in the advice that he gave and the guidance that he offered, having done this on several campaigns before. And we worked well in tandem. I had this organisational side from Sarah, and I also had this sort of spontaneous, slightly risk-taking side that may or may not have paid off. And Ian had this wealth of experience that meant that I wasn't going and pursuing things that were completely pointless that I might have done otherwise. So thank you very much there. Also want to thank Ross Strong, who has already proved himself above and beyond as a welfare officer and hasn't even been elected yet. Obviously, I wish you the best of luck. You totally deserve it. And there were times during this where I was feeling negative, like after the hustings. And your input there and being able to talk to you about it was just so helpful. So thank you so very much. A couple of other people I did a bit of campaigning with, lecture shout-outs and door knocking, are Evie Harrison, who was the one with the meerkat, and George Hughes. Again, just two people who are very pleasant to work with and who I bounced off really well and just made the whole experience of doing this campaign, which is sometimes like scary, less daunting. So, yes, good. Hayley Graham, who's running to be disability officer, again, just a fantastic person and has already proved herself above and beyond that she'll be fantastic in her role. Her campaign for awareness was a fantastic thing to see on campus, and I'm really glad that I got the chance to meet you, and I'm really glad that we had the chance to bounce off each other a bit. And sort of finally on that note, Becky McWhinney, who's one of the sports candidates, who just, when I came onto campus, would talk to me and just always had this positive outlook, and it was just a lovely sort of way to come on and see each other every day. So thank you very much there. A couple of other people I want to thank. Firstly, might seem like quite a strange one, but Jacob Warner and Roberto Sorrentino, my competitors, who were just lovely. One of my biggest fears coming into this was that it would be a very antagonistic experience and there'd be sort of infighting and taking sides, and I needn't have worried because they were just both genuinely lovely people. And sometimes I was feeling down and they'd be out doing stuff and I was like, okay, I need to get my act together. So thank you so much for being brilliant opponents. Thank you to my housemates who put up with a lot of me talking about campaigning all the time and probably the smell of paint drifting down from my room, just being very tolerant people. And yes, thank you very much for that. And Student Voice, I can't name all of them here, and I won't be able to tag any of them, but in particular, the team is led by Antonia, who is a very tolerant, very patient person who, just the whole experience for any candidate, I think, wouldn't be the same without her. And I think I say on everyone's behalf, thank you very much for doing that. And finally, thank you to you, the voters and the people who've watched this vlog, because it's just been humbling to me that people have looked at this and, thought about what I've been saying and have agreed with it and decided to support me. And to finish off on a note that I kind of started on, it's just amazing that you guys have taken the chance and put your trust in a quirky guy with a hat. And if elected, I won't let you down. So thank you very much. We'll see what happens in a couple of hours, and it's honestly been fantastic. So